Joining me now is Charlene Richard, an Epstein survivor who's speaking out and telling her story for the very first time tonight. And Sky and Amanda Roberts, the brother and sister-in-law of Virginia Giuffre, who have been fighting tirelessly for justice in her memory. I don't think we would be at this point we are today without their advocacy. Thank you, Charlene, for being here with us today. I want to start by just asking you, you have been through so much and you have decided to share your story today. You spoke at a press conference on Capitol Hill today. It looked like you'd done it before, but and here you are to share your story. Why did you decide that now was the time you wanted to share what you've been through?
Because I finally feel safe to be able to come out and tell my story, and I feel that it's time. Today is a monumental day, and I feel like we're making history, and I want to support everybody, all the girls that are there, and Sky and Amanda, and everybody who's already been involved with this and speaking out before me.
I was watching your faces today when Charlene was talking, and so many of the other survivors, that you were not the only person who was speaking out for the first time today. It's so courageous what you did today and what you're here doing. And I was wondering what was going through your minds, because I know you think a lot about Virginia in these moments and how she inspired people, how she had the courage to come out. What was going through your mind when you were watching Charlene talk this morning?
I felt Virginia. I felt Virginia in her voice, in Charlene's story, and who she is. And I think she was there empowering every single one of them and every single one of us. And we just miss her so much physically, but having this bond and connection, I've gained so many sisters, and I'm so grateful for it. So it was a beautiful and powerful moment, and I think Virginia stays alive through all of us.
There's no question about that, and we're all wearing butterflies right now. I know Virginia's story has impacted so many people because they could see their daughters and their sisters and their neighbors. And I know that's part of why you want to share your story, too. I know this is incredibly difficult. So you can share what you want of your story. It's yours to share. Let me start by just asking you how you got involved in Epstein's world to begin with.
So I was modeling and traveling as a model, and I met him through a friend. He was heavily involved in the modeling system. I think I want to call it a system because even though we have an agent and that agent gets us jobs, it's considered a job, but it's also it can be worked as a different kind of system for predators. And it's important that people are aware of that. And that's another reason why I'm speaking out is because I really want all the young girls and boys, this is anybody, and not even if you're underage, if you're older as well, to understand what a predator is, what the signs are, and it's just very important.
One of the things that has been so striking about the PSA campaign and also the press conference today was the holding of photos of a lot of the people who spoke of when they were approached by predators, I should say. I stumbled over there because I wanted to say it in the right way. Well, you were young. Mm-hmm. You were in your teens?
Yes, I was in my early teens. Yep.
And you were modeling out there. And what, in your experience of what you were asked to do, I know that Epstein himself, of course, was a predator. Did you travel to the island?
Yes, I did. I was in New York, Miami, and on the island.
Did you travel to Mar-a-Lago?
Yes, I did.
And how did you arrive at Mar-a-Lago? How did you end up going to Mar-a-Lago? Did he send you there? Were you told to go there? How did that happen?
There were a lot of model parties at the Mar-a-Lago. Different people would set them up, different magazines, and a limo would come and you'd jump in the limo and you'd go.
And Jeffrey Epstein or someone who worked for him would tell you to go there?
No. It was just a place where something was held, a party was held, and people would go to different events.
This is about so much more than one person, Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell or Donald Trump. But because Donald Trump is a person who, of course, owns Mar-a-Lago, I just have to ask if you think he was aware of that arrangement.
I don't know if he was aware. Actually, I can't answer that. I'm sorry.
And you were in your teens. You were in your teens. Yeah. And I think this is important for people to understand that people were in their teens and were young, and you were a young model, mm-hmm. and you were handled by a predator. Let me ask you something else, because again, it's much bigger than a couple of people. Were you trafficked to other people?
You can say yes, but you don't have to name names.
You only share what you want to share. You don't have to be sorry for anything. And I'm asking you this because I think it's important to understand, as people do understand about Virginia's story, that it's not about just one person or two people. It's much bigger than that. You can share whatever you want to share.
Terrible things had happened to me within my time with dealing with Jeffrey Epstein. I had encounters with people that I would rather not have.
I understand, and we've talked about this before, why you don't want to share names. And I think people like Sky and Amanda have educated all of us on the fear a lot of survivors have about litigation, about threats, about what can happen to your family. And Virginia, unfortunately, experienced a lot of that. I don't want to. Can you share more about why that's a fear that survivors have about sharing names or specifics? Because it is a question a lot of people have out there.
Yeah. It shouldn't fall on the survivor's shoulders. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of people that just want them to release the names. They're like, well, you have the names, just do it. The problem with that is that these rich and powerful men they can sue you into homelessness, would be a big part of it, but B, it puts serious threat on your life and your family's life. There were times where my sister was sitting across people and they would push a picture of her own children in front of her and essentially say, I know where your kids go to school. I mean, I alone had own threats on me from Jeffrey Epstein.
People threatening her who had
a lot of money and a lot of power. And I think her memoir does a very good job of giving information without even having to say the names. If you do just a little bit of digging, you can figure out who these people are. But point being is there were still names up until the very end that she couldn't name because these people they still can come after these survivors, not just with litigation, but the fear of their life for their family and their friends and the people around them. They experience real threats.
And you have kids, I know you're not going to share the names, and I think I wanted to make sure people understood why. Are these people, when the list is released, that people would know? Are they people who are famous in some capacity?
Yes.
And are there names out there that have not been out there yet?
Yes.
That you were trafficked to?
There's names of people that are out there that are not on the list.
Now that this bill to release the Epstein files is headed to Donald Trump's desk, and I would not have predicted that at the beginning of today, there is an understandable sense of cautious optimism from many of Epstein's survivors and their loved ones. For people like Sky and Amanda Roberts, and for newly public survivor Charlene Richard, there's definitely a moment of hope, but also of real resolve for what comes next. Here's more of our conversation. Amanda, you have been standing right by Sky's side, talking about Virginia, your beloved sister. Does today feel like it's a moment after fighting for so long of some element of progress?
I think this journey is long, and you get so little wins. And I say this every time because it's what gives you momentum for the next step. This is a marathon that we're running, and we're running it together, and that's what has been so powerful. But it gives us so much hope. It was a huge moment for the very first time. That vote, yes, was an acknowledgement for survivors that this did happen, that they are truth tellers, that we see them, that we believe them, and that we're going to continue to fight with them, and we're going to run this marathon together is what I felt happened today. And I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful because I believe the American people are believing and seeing and trusting in a way that they were never trusting survivors before. And they're truly seeing them and seeing their stories. And it's making an impact.
There's no question it's making an impact. I've been in this town a long time. Very few things make impacts. Human stories and humanity makes impacts. And we wouldn't be here without you two and without you sharing your story. Let me ask you, because you spoke so powerfully this morning about the long length of time you have been waiting, and quietly waiting, and without the same universe of people that I think you've been building over the last couple of days. What has today meant to you so far?
Today means that we're actually being seen. It means that maybe transparency is possible. Maybe justice will be served. Maybe all of the people that have been through this, not just Epstein survivors, but this is for everybody. This is for America. This is not just for us. It's called the Epstein Transparency Files Act because we started it. These guys helped start it. But this is for everybody.
You two have came to this as loving siblings of your sister, and now you've become incredibly powerful advocates. And today's a hopeful day, but I think being clear-eyed is so important in this moment, too. There was an investigation that the Trump administration announced last week. Do you have fear that they might use an ongoing investigation as an excuse not to release these files, even if legislation is passed? I don't bring that up to be a Debbie Downer, but just for people out there to understand all of the battles ahead for all of you that have been advocating so hard.
Yeah. I think that was an issue that we talked about today when we sat with various members of the House, the Democratic Women's Caucus. We sat down with them, and that was a fear that we expressed to them, that potentially this could be another, stone wall that could be thrown out at them. And I think what we asked of them is that don't give up. You need to join this fight with us. When they do try to throw something against us again, help us fight this. Help us with legislation. Help us figure out the pathways and maneuvers around these roadblocks that we keep hitting over and over again. And I think we all were determined in that room. And I mean, so many representatives, Republican alike and Democratic, vowed to be a champion.
Republicans too.
Yes, vowed to be champions for us, vowed to find the routes and the way through for survivors, because it is time and it's beyond time. And we are looking to Congress to be that vote for us, to be the voice, to continue to push and to carry the weight,
What do you think Virginia would be thinking right now about today?
She did it. She did it. She paved the way. She She had a nag for pointing in people's faces and telling them you were wrong. You were wrong, and I was telling the truth the entire time. It's truly vindication for her. I mean, today's a monumental day. It's acknowledgement for the survivors. It's acknowledgement to my sister that she was a truth teller this whole time. And without her, we wouldn't have this road. We wouldn't have this road that we can now go down and really have these conversations. It's just tragic that she's not with us to share it, but she is. We wear her here. A lot of survivors wear her butterfly because it's a piece of